So why are you running for this position?
Well, thank you for that question. That's a good question because, and I get to ask that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So really, the city of Willmar is a regional center. And right now, the current mayor does not really embrace what we need to do as being a community of leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, the reason I'm running is that I want Willmar to be a better community than what it's being perceived right now. And we've got a lot of good things going in Willmar. We've got a lot of economic opportunity. We've got an industrial park that's ready to be developed out. We're putting the Western Interceptor in right now. That Western Interceptor will allow that expansion of that industrial park. So we have that as a tremendous opportunity. And also, we are a very diverse community. We have over 43 different ethnic groups, is kind of what we hear out in the community and also through the economic development folks. And so we need to embrace that. And I can work closely with all the different ethnic groups to make Willmar a stronger and a better community. So I want to give back to the community. I feel I have some leadership that's currently lacking in the mayor's office, and I want to bring that to the table.
Given Willmar is a pretty diverse community, what do you know of the current administration's diversity, and does the current diversity within the administration reflect the demographics of this region? And if it doesn't, what are you going to do as mayor to make sure that it does, including the police force?
Police department?
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, I think what we need to look at here is, first off, I want to talk about my history. I used to be fire chief in Apple Valley, Minnesota. When I was fire chief in Apple Valley, Minnesota, there were more females on the Apple Valley Fire Department than there were on any fire department in the nation based on percentage of people. So the percentage of females versus the percentage of males, we were the highest. Actually, Apple Valley was used as a model in a presentation that was done in California talking about that diversity. And there we're talking just gender diversity. So let me be very clear that gender diversity versus ethnic diversity is dramatically different. If you look at the city of Willmar currently, the city of Willmar does not clearly emulate what our demographics show. There are reasons for that, and a lot of people look at that and say that's a crutch. I'm not going to look at that as a crutch. Our workforce, our people on the council, and the people that represent our boards and commissions should clearly reflect our community, and I will work to make that happen. Now here's the key between me and my two opponents that are out there. I've done it. I know how to do it. I have the experience of getting it done, and I will work hard to do it. I'm currently campaigning for the mayor's position, but I'm already working with the diverse community we have and working with the genders to get them to come alongside and start thinking about how they're going to be incorporated into our community. I hired the first East African that the city of Willmar ever employed at the fire department. It was a summer position, but that position was a valuable position for the city. I hired that individual, that individual worked with us through the summer and then resigned. Under my administration on the fire department as fire chief, I hired Latino individuals. I gave them the opportunity to explore the community, not only as a firefighter, but also gave them other opportunities. One of the individuals excelled in our community, actually had his own interpreting business. Another person worked for our biggest employer in our community, which is Genio Foods, and was very successful at Genio Foods. Those were two individuals that I hired under my tenure. I did not hire the first Latino person in the fire department, but I did hire the first Latino person that actually made it through their probationary period.
Okay.
I have connections both in the East African community, and I also have connections in the Latino population, and I believe I have strong support in both areas.
Aside from the fire, your work with the fire department, what has your involvement been with the Latino community and other multicultural communities outside of the fire department?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I partnered with the early childhood group here in town, and I actually worked on writing a book that talked about the fire department, and it was a day in the life of a firefighter. And so I worked with the Latino population on that. That event, under my administration, it was called Story Time at the Fire Station. That event was immensely popular, and we not only did that in English, but we also did that in Spanish. So our presentation, when we read our book, was actually multilingual. But then what we found is that we went out and started looking at the marketplace. We found out that the marketplace did not have the resources we needed to directly impact our community like we wanted to. So we actually wrote our own book, actually published it. And that event brought in a cross-section of our community at the early childhood level. And we had over 800 people that attended that event. And that event clearly represented our community demographically through ethnic, and then obviously there were more females at that, but ethnically it was a very diverse group. We worked with Genio Turkey Foods Turkey Store to make sure that we had a product that would be that could be eaten by the East African community, and so Genio was a key partner in that process.
Okay.
So there's a direct impact that I've done. I've worked a little bit in visiting with Robert Valdez downtown at the multicultural marketplace. I've worked a little bit with him, but I have not worked extensively with him. That's an area that I will reach out to, and you will see that I'm very inclusive of our community, and I view that as a strength of our community.
What is your perception of the Latino community?
Well, we're very fortunate in Willmar. A lot of communities, when they look at ethnic diversity, they're maybe in their first generation. In Willmar, we're fortunate in that we have third generation and even greater than that population of the Latino population. The Latino population is integral in the success of Willmar. We have to embrace their ideas, their culture, and we need to move Willmar forward in regards to that aspect. At the same time, they're coming to Willmar for a reason. They're coming to Willmar to better themselves. And so we have to allow them to have those opportunities, whether it's expanding in education, whether it's expanding in business development, whether it's business ownership, whatever that is, we need to give them the opportunities and make sure that they have the same opportunities that the Caucasian people have. And I will work hard in doing that.
Okay, and that same question for multicultural communities. What is your perception of your other communities?
Other communities as far as in Willmar itself?
Yes.
Okay.
The Eastern African.
Sure. Yep. The three communities that we speak mostly about in Willmar are the East African, which is the Slavic population, the Latino population, and the Latino population for us is not only Mexico but also Honduras, and then also the Caucasian. And then when we lump that other 41 people groups into that, that's where we get into the Norwegians and the Germans and the Dutch and all of those different ones. So we kind of clump those together, and then we look at the other two. My experience in working with the East African population is that when they looked at opening a mosque here in Willmar, I worked with them closely in getting that mosque opened. I believe that everybody has the freedom of right of religion, and although I'm a Christian, they still have the right to worship the way that they need to. And so if you talk with the East African population, you'll find that they view me as very supportive of their culture. At the same time, it's important to understand that we need to give people the tools to be successful. The East African population is very entrepreneurial, and there's a lot of businesses in downtown Willmar that are leaning towards that East African side of things. But the East African population here, generally speaking, is first generation. So we've got a tremendous strength in the Latino population that we went through in the 90s that we've gone through. So we've actually written the roadmap on how to get to where we need to get. We just need to follow the roadmap that our leaders before us actually wrote. So I will work with that to make that happen here in our community.
What are some of the things that you hope to accomplish within your first year?
In my first year, I hope to bring the council working more closely together with themselves. The council needs to work as a team. There has been 2 consultants that have come to town, and those consultants basically both have said that at the council level do not work together. So I'll work on building that team. I'll build trust in that team. There already is trust. I'll reestablish that trust that is external. The next thing I'll do is I'll pull that into staff and get staff back to trusting the council, and then our community then will trust the council. I'm going to work on economic development. That will include the industrial park, like I talked a bit earlier, but also at the same time I will embrace the diversity. I'll work with our business owners, our community, both the Latino and the East African community, to better assimilate them into our communities. Without them, we would not have the school system we have, we would not have the workforce we have, and those are all important things to make Willmar successful.
So what are your plans for revitalizing the downtown?
Sure. I think that you'll see that having been engaged in the downtown, there actually was a meeting downtown on Tuesday that I attended, and we're looking at how we can make the downtown stronger. I think one thing we've done in downtown Willmar is that we continue to have the same inputs, and then we expect a different output.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is a problem, because if we don't change our input, we're certainly not going to change our output. I've worked with Bev Doherty on how the things that she's been working on with the Downtown Council, used to be the Downtown Design Center.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked with her on expanding how the Becker Marketplace, the utilization of that space. I also worked with her when she wanted to do some things with the Holidays Parade when it came to town. So there's a lot of things that I've done working with downtown. So I think what we need to do in the downtown is, some of those buildings are being purchased now, and when we need to look at the economic impact that makes. We need a vibrant downtown, and the downtown that we once had back in 1974 when I graduated from high school is not going to be the same downtown that we have in the future. So we have to embrace that future, embrace what that looks like, and then we have to move the downtown forward.
Okay.
And I'll work closely with that group to do that. But they have to have their own vision, their own power to make that happen.
Right. What are 2 issues that need to be addressed here in the city, and what are you going to do specifically to address those 2 issues?
We've talked a little bit about our economic development, we've talked a little bit about our multicultural, so I'm going to go into some of what I view as a couple of the big things that have to get done.
Mm-hmm.
One of those is we need to start looking in a visionary aspect to how we look at Willmar. Our streets are in tough shape. We have to find a way to work and finance our infrastructure. Some of our buildings that the city owns are actually aging, so we have to look at that. But then, one of the things that we hear a lot from our younger population is that they want things to do here in Willmar. So the completion of the parks plan, and that's well underway right now, but we need to look at completing that, see what that looks like, and then we have to have the funding to make that happen. Additionally, on that issue is that we have to understand now that our community is not the same community it was, as I referenced early in 1974 when I graduated from high school. Mm-hmm. So we need to look at that, the diversity issue, and understand that maybe neighborhood parks need to actually have areas where we can have large gatherings, maybe of up to 100 or more people that can use the park facilities, to where they can actually come and actually almost have a family unit kind of come together. We need to, our parks are basically built so that kind of like what us Caucasians think of, and that is that, you know, you go with your family and you maybe have your kids and maybe one other family. Well, when the Latino population gets together, or the East African population together, they might get 100 or 150 people. So we need to develop our parks so that will support that type of outdoor activity. Because getting our kids outside and exercising is a key piece.
Okay, great. Have you had a chance to review the city's budget?
I have been attending the budget meetings, correct? Yes.
Okay, so what are some major changes that you would like to make there?
Well, the first budget that will be presented, that the new mayor will have to work under, is a budget that is actually prepared by this current administration. and prepared by the current mayor. So I have talked with the current mayor about that, and I said, that's a budget that we can work with. It's a good starting point. I think what we need to do is we need to actually bring a group of people in to take a look at that budget, see how that budget reflects what we want to do and where we want to go. But just continuing to put the same budget together because it's easy isn't the solution or isn't the answer. And so what I want to do is I want to get a group of people together to actually look at that budget and make sure that it clearly reflects the intent of our community and not the intent of a few people. The budget is presented by the mayor and then is given to the council to actually work on, because Willmar has a weak mayor form of government. So what will end up happening with that then is that the council actually works that budget, and then the mayor presents the budget, and then it's adopted by the council. So we have to have a budget that the council can support. Some of the things that have been taken out of the budget in recent years are maybe some things that our community really feels should actually be in the budget. So we need to listen more to the community to hear what the community wants, and not just the way we've always done the budget. And it's a pretty good budget because we've always done it that way.
If you were mayor, would you welcome into your city some of the children at the border? Have you heard of the recent issues with children coming from Latin America?
Mm-hmm.
And they're at the border right now, and they're being kind of distributed, within different states and cities and whatnot. Some mayors and some cities have been very open and very welcoming, whereas others have pretty much blocked their roads so that the government doesn't bring these children into their city. So what is your position on that?
My position on that would be is that everybody deserves an opportunity. America is the land of the free. People come to America for the reason of, as I stated earlier, that they want to better themselves and better their families. And if that is part of that solution, I would fully support that. I fully support allowing people the opportunity to advance, and if that's the case, I would support that. Now, would I be in a position where I think that people should be able to come here just to come here for what would be a good example? I guess that's probably a poor thing to say. I think that our community should be an open, inclusive community.
Okay.
I guess that's the best way to say it.
What is your perception of undocumented immigrants living in your city?
I don't think it's as big of an issue as people are making it out to be. I've worked with a lot of people in our community. I think there are some undocumented people that live in our community, but I don't think it's at the level that some of the fearmongers say it is.
Okay.
And I think that we should work with people to get their documentation papers together so that they can be residents. I understand that that's a lengthy process, and I also understand it's a very expensive process. One of our firefighters was going through that process, and I wrote him numerous letters of support on his documentation process to allow him to stay here. So I am in support of people being here and getting the proper documentation so that they can be residents of our community.
Okay. Why should the Latino community or East African community vote for you?
Well, you ask tough questions.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's good though.
You're interviewing for a very important position.
Exactly.
And this is the exact same questions everybody's going to get asked.
Exactly, right, without a doubt. Well, here's the reason why you should vote for me. I have two opponents that are running against me, if you will. But I am the only candidate of the three that has the experience to get the job done. I have the proven track record of getting the job done. And so people should vote for me for a brighter future of Willmar. I will be inclusive of all ethnic groups, of all genders, all families. I will try to make Willmar a better, stronger place, and I will provide clear vision, leadership, and collaboration as we move the city of Willmar forward. We will return Willmar to the regional center that it is recognized as being under my leadership, and I'm the only one that can give you concrete examples on how I've done that.
Okay. Last message that you would like to send our multicultural community?
So why the multicultural community should vote for me? The reason why they should vote for me is very clear and simple. I am the only candidate that has the proven experience. I've actually can give you concrete examples on what I have done, not what I'm going to do. I will make Willmar a better community. I will make it an inclusive community. I will give everybody the opportunity to be successful. Whether that's in having a job that you hold employed by somebody else, or whether that means that you want to start your own business and be entrepreneurial, I will give you and work with you to make sure you have the tools to make that happen. I have open communication. I am not multilingual, so I probably can't speak, well, not probably, I can't speak Spanish or Somali, but I do have people around me that can, and I certainly am willing to work with people. If you look at what I've done for the multicultural community up to this point, you'll find that I've been very inclusive, I've been very accepting, and I look at that as a true strength. The other thing is our community would not be what it is today without the diverse community we are. Our schools would not be the same, would not be as strong as they are, our tax base would not be the same, and we would not have the employment base. So on behalf of the mayor's office, if I am successful in that position, I will welcome you in. I will welcome you to my office whenever you want. I want you to invite me to your community, to your businesses, and I will listen to what you have to say, and together we will work to make Willmar a stronger, better community. Any more tough questions you got over there?
No.